Good morning. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello, Robin. Hello, 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 hello. I've been looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. That's so magic what's happening. Just so brilliant. Everything, just the world, just everything is good, no?
Yes, actually, for me, everything is I'm back up in Pennsylvania now. So,
Right. Very good, very good. What is it in Pennsylvania that needs to be done before you can move to Florida?
um, lots of stuff, but
Lots of stuff, huh? Interesting.
lots of stuff. Got to get, well, I guess it's mainly getting the house. I mainly have to get my house. Kind of what I'm doing down in Florida, I have to do up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, right. Wow. It's so fascinating that I could zoom out, and from my perspective, I could say, Robin is getting her house in order.
Yes.
And that's so cool. And that's so cool. And you have been profoundly so. This is a huge deal. So the physical houses, you're getting houses in order, plural, right? The physical houses are merely now opportunity to implement in a physical way, to confirm is the word I'm looking for, to confirm what you've been doing, to cement it, to lock it in, to emphasize it, yes, so that it becomes not just an idea, not something that you kind of touched on and did, and then it just goes back to everything old. No, this is the way to solidify it, right? And claim it and congeal it and embody it, embrace it, and make it yours. Yes. So this physical getting of the house in order, like I was suggesting when you were in Florida, to do it and associate it with all the things that you're clearing and cleaning and sorting and arranging and discarding as needed and replacing and updating and upgrading, all of these things, when you do them with that connectivity, it's profoundly valuable. Yes.
Yes. I mean, it is. It's funny because I come back up here and especially because when I come back up here, I have my two dogs, and my two dogs they're a lot. I love
Mm.
them dearly, but they are a lot. And I know it
Yeah.
just drives Kevin nuts. And
What way?
so it's
I mean, are they that way? Sorry to interrupt you there. Are they that way because of the situation and circumstance, or just this is just the way they are? It's their personalities.
it's a little bit of both.
Ah,
I
right.
think it's a little bit of both. And especially, my little one, when we go away, she is so out of sorts. And,
Mm.
that's why I share with, everybody that when we go, I'm taking the dogs with me.
Oh yeah.
you know so meaning my daughter and her fiance won't have to take care of them anymore. And then as far as Kevin goes, when we go down to Florida, because there's a lot more space down
Oh,
there
good.
and it's warmer down there, there's going to be some training involved, especially for the little one, but overall I will be home more to
Mm.
be able to work with them to get them into a routine.
Excellent.
Hang on,
Excellent.
hang on
Oh,
one
no
second.
problem. No problem. Mm.
Okay. So yeah, there's just, and we come back up here and there's a lot of differences up here, but it's really, I feel for Kevin.
Yeah.
I feel for Kevin because the way his job is right now, it's if these deals go through, because again, I think I have shared with you that there this Florida property has been an anomaly.
Oh.
And it's been an anomaly because I know just from experience that when they were purchasing this property, it was not going smoothly. It was almost as if they were trying too hard.
Mm, mm,
And this isn't Kevin, this is, the people above him. So when there started to be problems, I wasn't surprised because I've had these experiences before where you're trying to make something happen. Eventually you'll make it happen, but it's not going smoothly.
yeah.
And nothing about this project has gone smoothly at all. Nothing. And then it
Interesting.
got to a point where I'm going, Kev, this is just like, this is an anomaly.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is so interesting that nothing is going. And now I feel for Kevin even more so because I'm going, okay, pause, zoom out. It may be an anomaly. There may not be much that you can do, but again, for his job, it still needs to get done.
Mm,
So at one point, I literally just sat there and I just kind of prayed over it, which I don't normally do. Like I just
interesting.
put it in my mind and I just blessed over the
Set an
land,
intent, in other words. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what
I
praying
just
is. Setting an intent.
I just did. I mean, not that it changed. I mean, it made things go. It was interesting because things kind of shifted a tad in regards to it wasn't so chaotic, but still they haven't gotten any deals signed. There's consistent possibility, but nothing has stuck. And it's just so interesting to me because it's such an anomaly. But so where I'm
Yeah.
going with all of
Yeah.
this is then the home base right now is up here and it is chaotic with the people. So when Kevin is here in the office, because he's the big boss,
Yeah.
everybody is, the cat's away, the mice will play. So now
Yeah.
everybody's doing well. And it also makes it easier for Kevin because he's there and everybody's doing everything they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But then if he's not in Florida, it's as if he's not there, people aren't doing what he's, like there's just, it's
Right.
really, really, really fascinating to me. But the one consistent is I am seeing more and more. Kevin very much enjoys being in Florida.
Yeah. 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 So, what's stopping you from moving there? I mean, you said you're going to do this in January, February, right?
That's the uh
The
that's
plan.
the goal. We're seriously talking more and more about it. Again, for me, it's about letting go of things up here, but the bottom line is the house. The house has to get in order up here
Yeah.
in order for us to even entertain going down there.
Mm, 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 mm. And when you say in order, this is so that your daughter can rent it? You said she
Yes.
wants to? All right.
Yes. Yes, that would, yes. It was very good that we had touched upon, the associating with different connectivity with releasing things because, I keep
Yeah.
looking at down in Florida, but
Yeah.
it's becoming, I'm not sure it's really about Florida, but more about here.
Yeah. Yeah. Letting go. Yes. The past, the old, it has a great claim on us because it's entrenched. And even though it's not ideal, sometimes that entrenchment is because of comfort, but really it's because it just takes energy to change it. Yes. It's not ideal, but we hang on to it because it takes energy to change. So if you keep this in mind, this will be a great, great, great association to realize that no, this long term, it's not ideal. Yes.
Which now you take this a step further, could it potentially be, and we'll never know unless we test it, And that is that why Florida is the way it is in regards to these possibilities? Because this needs to be taken, Pennsylvania needs to be
Yeah,
taken care of before
exactly.
Florida can.
Exactly. 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 If you don't clean up the old, it'll always have a hold on you, or it won't let you go either way. So yes, yes, yeah. All right. So the next thing that I would absolutely recommend, just from an energy management point of view, and simple impeccability, which is best use of energy, to take the Pennsylvania house and say, okay, let me find one small place that's fairly easy to sort, right? Well, let's just say a closet for argument's sake, yeah, and say, okay, I'm going to start there. Now, it's not a big deal to do. It's a small thing, and that's it, right? But that you get started, and that's the key. And then you find another small place, whether it's be a corner or a wall or whatever, and you just keep doing little small things, and the next thing you'll know, it'll be done. It seems like a big project, but when you break it up into little small projects, it always goes much quicker and easier than we think it does. You have such a place in mind that you know where you could start small and easy,
I
fairly simple.
Where I get caught up still
Mm?
watching this habit of mine,
Old habit of yours. Thank you very
old
much.
habit, where I will start, and then what happens, and we touched upon this down in Florida, and I guess it's easier in Florida because it's not quote unquote my stuff,
Mm.
which is really interesting.
Mm.
And I'll start to do something and go, well, what if I may need this? What if, no, it's that whole, instead of just,
Yes, yes,
and
yes,
so
yes,
that's why, when we had this, when we
yes,
were together on Monday, it started resonating with me that,
yeah,
it may not be about Florida, it may be about Pennsylvania.
yes, yes. Bring this up with Kevin, and basically say, look, Kevin, in order to sort the house, and so that we can go down to Florida, I'm going to have to throw out a bunch of stuff that's in that may need category. And I just want to let you know that this is the only way it can be done. I have to throw it out. End of story. Otherwise, we'll get stuck here forever in this may need stuff. And I'm sure he'll say yes, whatever, no problem. Go ahead, or whatever. He'll be happy to sign off on it and agree with it, and it will give you that. Yes, probably not. It's all your decision. I'm not saying it from a decision point of view. I'm saying it simply from a psychological point of view. If you have his agreement and he's joining with you, and yes, cool. This is great. Yeah, do it and go on. This support. That's the word I'm looking for. If you have his support in this, it makes it easier to do. Correct?
Yes, because, and again, we touched upon this, that if it's needed again, much more aware, deliberately aware of what I'm doing versus what I
Exactly.
had been doing.
It's going to be profound. It's going to be profound, 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 profound. And the reason for this is that you just don't want to be physically moving with so much stuff. Is that the reason for not taking it down to Florida? Like just
Yes,
having
because
the.
a
Yeah,
lot of it is tchotchke stuff. A lot of it is just piddly
yeah, right.
items. It's not,
Yeah,
it's not needs.
yeah, yeah. So now you get an opportunity to practice positive ruthlessness.
I like that. Let's
Yeah.
touch on this.
That's to have that matron, that head nurse, that awesome mother, and that are so few, unfortunately, or that super teacher that you had, that nobody messed with, everybody respected, and also everybody loved, right? Because they had that positive ruthlessness. And they weren't squeamish. They didn't get caught up in bullshit. They didn't get distracted by stuff, nonsense. No, didn't matter. They did what was needed to do because it was right. That was it. End of story. There's no doubts about it. So in other words, they practiced being impeccable. Yes, I did it
Yeah.
because it was right, because it made sense, right? And they weren't put off by a pettiness and sort of nostalgia or um, I don't know, any kind of indulgence to say, oh, but it's so pretty, whatever. No, it's we don't have space for it. That's it, or we don't really need it. Yeah, it's kind of crappy. Yeah. So your criteria is this necessary? Yes. Does it make a difference? Is it important? We can't meet those criteria. Oops, sorry. Out you go.
Hang on one cell. Hang on one second.
There we go. Hmm.
You too. All right.
Bye. Hi and bye, Kevin.
All right. So, is this necessary?
Is it important? Yes. Yes. Well, and you can say, okay, is it valuable also? In other words, if you really did need that, okay, everything you say you may need. And that's the other point. Is it needed? Not wanted, but needed. Yes. So we've got important, valuable, needed. What was the first one we said?
Necessary. But that's needed.
Necessary. Right. Yeah, I guess so. They're both same, but there was one more, I thought.
I had
Oh, well.
necessary, needed, important, valuable,
Okay.
or
And,
wanted.
and then,
Wanted.
yes, yes. And is it easily replaceable? Right? So some things you might need, but in that eventually that you should need it, is it easy to acquire and replace? See? So that's the other thing when it comes to might. It's the stuff that, well, you know what, if I really needed this in that 1 in 1,000 chance, well, I'll just go down to the hardware store and get it again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's say you got a roll of wire. I don't know. Just for argument's sake. You see what I mean?
Yep.
When you look at it in that context, then it's like, well, this stuff can serve better elsewhere. It can do some good. It's just lying here. It's just maybe, right? But it's easily replaceable, and it can do some good at goodwill. I assume you give the stuff to goodwill. I don't know.
When I can, yes, I do. I guess, some places don't take it, some places do. So I always try to give it away. That's always my intent. But sometimes they don't want or don't take, or that's when I have a hard time of just letting it go. So then I just keep it and it just stays, and that's where the hard part is. And doing even the thought of a yard sale, well, especially now it's getting cold,
It's not viable. Yeah, yeah,
it's not viable, yes.
yeah. No, again, it's about not hanging on to stuff because of maybes and ifs. Think of it this way, that if somebody came in the night and stole all the stuff, would you notice?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, you know, some transporter, the Enterprise comes and beams it all away. I'm like, wow, okay, thank you, Enterprise.
Not
Right?
only that, but if I was to go tomorrow, none of this matters.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the point. That was the word. Does it matter? That was the first one I said. Does it matter? That's the key. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. So you're getting stuck on something that, let's say, if you were to leave it there, well, it wouldn't be in your life, right? So,
Yep.
well, you're just going to leave it at Goodwill or wherever. You see? So just think of it that way. The only thing that's bothering you is the waste aspect of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So that's very simple, right? Just say, if I left it here, would it be an issue? No. Well, okay. If you can leave it, you can throw it out. Yeah.
Yes.
So just think of it as leaving it at Goodwill instead of leaving it there in that house. And maybe some of it you can leave for your daughter to use. If it's something that may be general, you can say, well, there you go. You just give it to her, no, instead of giving it to Goodwill.
Hmm.
Yeah. Would that work?
Yeah, well, I like that. If I can leave it, then I can throw it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
It is the same thing.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Going to visit my dad has taught me a lot of this because I go in there and, like looking at his house and then looking at my house and, just, and then my family, how they're so much about just stuff and seeing, oh my gosh. And I look around and I go, it's just stuff. It is just stuff. And it's, oh my gosh. And then when I see my dad in his facility and realize that he's got what he needs, food,
Yeah,
shelter, water. And I'm going, wow, wow.
exactly. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. Life is simple. We make it complicated. But in essence, it's pretty simple. Right? I mean, as you see with your dad, it's pretty simple. Not much to it.
So, I mean, that's that. So now let's get
Right.
into
So now you have a criteria to work with. It makes it pretty easy. Yes. If you can leave it, you can throw it out. Yeah, or
yes,
donate it, or I mean, well, donate it either to Goodwill or to whoever's. Which daughter's the one staying?
my oldest daughter. And it's funny because my other two kids, like Patrick especially, he is excellent at I only need what I need.
There
So
you go.
if he gets a shirt, he will get rid of a shirt.
Wonderful.
I don't
Wonderful.
need, all this stuff. Like I learned from him. I have learned from him. And Kelly is similar. She's not quite Patrick, but she's definitely not me.
Ah,
And I'm not
wonderful.
me anymore. I'm better than where I was. But that has to do with that has to do with working with you with, since the beginning with you and Sue and Bina with I knew that my next steps were the clutter of my mind. And if I did not work with the clutter in my head, I would not be able to start to be where I am right now. And so I am grateful for that. And I would like to continue creating space.
Right. So now, whoever's staying, how are they with stuff? Do they like stuff?
They're
Sorry,
they are
which one?
they are similar
Kelly
to
or-
myself. That's my oldest. They are similar to me, but is starting to have ahas as well. as I'm
Wow.
going through my ahas is having similar ahas. And so it's very nice.
Good deal. There we go. Okay. So again, now you can also think, do I want to burden them, whoever's staying, right? Do I want to burden them with leaving the stuff here? Yeah.
No,
Well, there you go. See, very simple. Now, so that makes it very easy. So now it's just, well, I don't want to burden them. Out it goes. Simple, right? And if you can leave it, you can throw it out. This is the same thing essentially, Now, if you move down to Florida and you need any of that stuff, you're not going to go back up to Pennsylvania to go and fetch it. So it's the same as throwing it out, isn't it?
it is. And when I'm down there, that's the most interesting thing. When I am down there, I am I am very uncluttered, that I don't quote unquote need everything because I have all that I need. And if something does come up, I just go out and get that simple little item. When I'm
Right.
up here, because it's so cluttered, I can't find what I need. So thus I
Uh,
continue. And then when I do have that moment of clarity, I realize I got six of the same thing.
wow. Okay. So if you look at this stuff from an energy efficiency point of view, right? Because you got all the clutter and it's all hard to find. By the time all the effort you've made to get it, the overall effort, including going and buying it, is much less, right? If you were to
Mm-hmm.
just so you spend less energy acquiring whatever you need when you need it in Florida than you do up here, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. 100% so.
interesting. Okay, so there's other options you got here. So I'm just sharing options here now, right? And this is the bigger point that I'm sharing is that Pennsylvania seems like this big, huge project and a difficult project and stuck. But, when we perspective shift a little bit on it and we look at the potential options and kind of jump out of the normal and reassociate our thinking, now we're in a different world, right? It's already shifted. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing is, you've got other stuff to do, and you're also busy in your life. So this is a time issue, right? This so now there are people who you can say they will come and clear the stuff for you, and they take it and they auction it, sell it off at flea markets or whatever, right? Basically, you donate it to them for the price of clearing out your space. Just saying, there are people like that. Or you just designate, and then you basically just have to remove what you want to keep from those places, and say, there we go, take the rest.
Hmm.
That's an option, right? I don't
Yeah.
know, that's maybe it's personal stuff. You don't want people in your space. So yeah, I mean, there's downsides to it as well, but it is an option though. I don't know what physical spaces the stuff is in and how it works, right? Is that an option potentially?
Potentially. I'm just writing down like
Yeah. Yeah,
words,
ideas, just
clutter,
ideas.
stuff,
Yeah.
organization,
Right. Right. I mean,
time
if you are going to
management.
do this yourself, the key is, because it sounds like it's quite a big task, big project, or not that big.
Here's the interesting thing. I don't think the task itself
Ah,
is as daunting as what I'm making it. I really,
that's what I thought. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
it's more the mental, the
Yeah. It's the decision making that's the issue,
yes.
not the physical doing. It's well, do I really need it? That's my point. That's where the positive ruthlessness comes in. So, do I need this? Do I have to have this? Is this something that that I could leave here? Well, if I could leave it, then I could throw it out. Well, there you go. See, now you've got a very simple criteria to decide with. Well, you've been down to Florida and you stayed there, and did you need the stuff? No. Well, okay. So there's actually very, very little that you're going to need. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, very little. So it's pretty much most of it. So think of it this way in your mind, that you're throwing it all out. And if you notice something that maybe is an exception, that you sort of Well, that's the point. If you'd forgotten about it, how needed can it be, right?
Yep.
You see? I mean, the fact that it is there in wherever it is, some kind of storage, I'm assuming, or, basements or garages or closets or whatever. If it's where it's at, it's because you don't use it and don't need it. Yes?
Yep.
Very simple. So in your mind, really, the only thing you're going to keep is because, well, you're sort of going to indulge yourself by keeping it. And all right, every now and then you might say, well, all right, this gives me a fond memory. It makes me feel happy. And okay, whatever. I mean, just sort of saying, all right, be aware that you may appease yourself by keeping one or two things or whatever. I mean, a few things. But really, if they are where they are, it's because you don't need them. So it's very simple. There's no sorting really. It's just physically saying, well, okay, have I been in this closet? When last did I actually use something in here?
Exactly. And
Well,
that
that means it can
I
all go.
and that's what's really neat is that every time I clean out my one closet,
Yeah,
I let go of more and more.
interesting. All right. So the thing is, if you don't go there very often, then it's obviously not needed. Yes. No matter how much you may think, oh, I might need this, whatever. No. Well, I don't go there, so that's not true. It's just an idea. Yeah.
You know what? I know exactly which closet I'm going to start with.
Oh, brilliant clarity.
A simple one where it won't it's in the bathroom because it's one that needs to be done, but it's also a simple one that doesn't carry as much attachment to it. But I feel that if I can start there, that starting simple, it will encourage me to continue.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's the point. See, that's what I was saying. Start with something fairly simple. And that you come, oh, okay, well, you know what, this all needs to go. All right, here we go. Put it in the trunk, drive it down to Goodwood. There we go. Well, you know what, you can call them to pick up stuff too, by the way. Did you know that?
Yes.
So okay, you say, here we go, put it out. There we go, give them a call. Done. Next. Right. So in other words, it becomes merely a matter of moving it from wherever it is to wherever it is they're going to pick it up from, the front yard or whatever. Right.
Yes.
Simple, simple, simple. And then once you're done, say, oh, that was nice. Now you're going to be, when you've done it, you're going to say, man, this is pretty cool. I feel good about this. I want to do more now. Because you've done, when you look at that, say, okay, well, what am I associating this with? Unneeded clutter. You don't even have to individually connect the things, right? You can simply say, this is unneeded stuff that I don't even know what it is. Yes. Yes, I can look in this closet now and kind of see it there, but I can't always do that in my subconscious closets, right? I can't look that easily. So I'm just going to throw it all out. Say, I don't need it. If I'm not using it, I don't need it. Yeah. Right.
I'm
Very
writing
cool.
that if I'm
I'm
not
making
using it.
space. Yeah. If I'm not using it, I don't need it. And, is there anything that you cannot acquire if you really need it?
No, that's just it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And I have realized each time that I have let go, more has come in. And when I say more, it's like more
Yeah.
what I've been, well, you know.
Moreness has come in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what you're doing. You're not making space for other clutter. You're making space for moreness.
Yes.
This is a very profound thing. Now, this is something awesome, right? I don't know if you've seen this, but well, it's not a new thing, but it's sort of, I guess, become more popular with the internet. People become more aware of it. But I remember when I had the restaurant, very busy, and man, I was working, I don't know, 16, 17 hours, just like working and not sleeping very much. But anyway, it was just a grind. But um, and just lots going on, very very busy. So, but then so what we did in the apartment we had we got rid of pretty much everything. I think we had a mattress, one wardrobe, and TV, and that was it. And it was this beautiful big living room. It had this nice windows. We looked out over the beachfront, everything. So it was pretty cool. But it was bare. It was open, right? Which was wonderful, right? Nothing on the walls, no furniture, nothing. Right? I mean, we didn't spend much time there anyway, or at least I didn't. Um, so, but the point is that that bareness made space for moreness. Yes, it gave the soul space to stretch. It gave the spirit a space to exercise and roam and be free and not be connected and get a breather, get a break. So there was so much moreness involved in that. And this is the point. That's why this concept of moreness is so incredibly potent. So when we make space, physical, literal space, we're making space for moreness. It's not a moreness we can see necessarily, but it's there, right? Very, very, very powerful understanding and awareness. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I understand that because, again, when I go down to Florida, there's so much space that I can think.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you're clearing this now to say, you know, do I want to have this in a space where there can be moreness? Another decision choice, right? Now it's really easy. It's like, oh, hell no. Do I want to carry this stuff around with me?
Hmm.
Think of it that way, right? If you had to carry this stuff around with you, like if you had to take it with you on the plane,
Oh,
it
yeah.
becomes ridiculous, right? All right, so the plane is maybe a bit, but let's say you were driving down and you're going to put it in the car and drive it down with you and then drive it back up again. Let's say even if you had a van, would you do that?
No.
No, but you do that with the clothing that you need, and stuff like this. Now, all right, the household needs a bit more stuff than clothing, you need your appliances and stuff like this. But other than that, what do you really, really need? Other than tools. Yes, I always agree with having tools around because those do become handy and needed, right? But other than that, there's very little that we actually need. Yes, is
Hmm.
that amazing? Too
Yes.
amazing to me. It's too amazing to me. Yeah.
Oh, this is
All right.
space.
So I want to read you something real quick.
Sure.
Actually, I'll screen share here. Just since it was been sitting here since you came on, and it's very cool. So just seems to be appropriate. I haven't read it all yet, but just the title is enough. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll take a chance and see. All right. What I choose to associate my past with is a choice. In my journey of moreness, I have found out that what I choose to associate my past with is a choice. How I respond to those associations is a choice. I can either allow it to affect me, or I can take note of this habit and use appropriate action of association by making new memories or by understanding said association. Through this newfound concept of understanding, I am learning that I don't have to let it bother me because I can see the zoomed out view of things. Once I have practiced this new concept, it will begin to become a habit of appropriate action of association. How cool is that? This seems very appropriate, yes? So if you think of that stuff as appropriate association of your past, and to say, I want to make space, and the moreness I want to make space for is choice. Yes. Instead of putting physical stuff that doesn't do much for you, I rather want to connect to replacing that closet and fill it up with the things on my dictionary of power or from my dictionary of power. Yes.
Yes.
mean, now it changes the whole logic, right? If you say, this is what I'm making space for, and I may have empty closets, and I'm happy to have empty closets. Why? Because they aren't empty. They're going to be filled with conception. Yes?
I like that.
Yes. Isn't choice space?
Very much so.
Choice equals space. Space equals choice. So if you open that closet up, you've got choices to, yeah. And as long as it stays basically more or less open and empty, it's always representing choice, no? So what I'm trying to say is having empty spaces. It's a profound thing. We always think we got to fill it up, but no.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't that cool?
Empty spaces don't always have to be filled up.
No, because when you do, you remove the choice. You want to keep them open sometimes, simply to maintain choice. Yes? How wonderful is that?
All right, wait a minute. I'm changing this to I, because you know how I
Yeah.
am. I have to make this more mine.
Yes. Always, always, always.
May. So I just put when I fill up space, I may remove my choice. Do I want this? Do I need this?
Exactly. And from a strategic point of view, as a spirit warrior, we always need to hold some space because we are holding choice. We are holding option, right? Which gives us flexibility and fluidity. Because, well, stuff does happen. And so now, instead of having stuff that you might need, you've got space that you might need. So now when you go to put stuff in there, say, but I might need the space. Right? Turn it on its head. Use philosophy of opposite.
Wait, what was that? Philosophy of opposite.
Philosophy of opposite, right? Instead of saying the stuff is in the closet because I might need it. Yeah, but you also might need the space because you might need that. You might need the space, right? The choice, the option, right? So now you've got this conundrum. For me personally, I'd rather have the space available that I might need than have the stuff that I might need. Yeah, because the space isn't taxing. It doesn't drain me. It doesn't hold on to me. Yes, I can take the space with me wherever I go. A little different logic, no?
Yes, but much needed.
Yes, much needed. This is very, very powerful stuff. It's really cool. Very, very cool
Much
stuff.
needed because, I'm back to
Yeah, yeah.
back in the
Furthermore,
area that needs the space.
yes, furthermore, this is not only for you, but for Kevin. If there's one thing that Kevin needs right now, it is space, no?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. So this is very profound. So when you think of it, that you aren't throwing it out for yourself, you're throwing it out for Kevin. Now it becomes very simple, no?
Yes, it actually
I
makes
mean,
it
I think
easier.
if you were to leave the decision up to Kevin, he'd just say, it can all go. Yes?
Yep.
So, remind me again, where was the difficulty here?
Just need, you know what it is? Just needed to clear some space in the head.
Exactly, exactly. This is why I'm saying we always want to try and keep space, always. And if that does get filled, it's a temporary thing, right? And for me personally, I'm like, man, I got to get back to getting that space open again. This is very, very, very important. Yeah, yeah. So, by the way, I have a fairly simple rule that I've lived by most of my life, and it served me fairly well. That all my possessions that I sort of accumulate and acquire, they must all be able to fit into my van. It's a cargo van. Right?
Hmm.
That's it. That's the limit. You'd be surprised how much you can fit into a van. Well, I have really, really awesomely excellent spatial management awareness skills. I can pack things like you won't believe, right? So I'll use up literally all the space in my van. But even then, I always have some space on the top that you can see over and see out the back through the rearview mirror and so on. But it's and like I say, you can put a whole household in there. I've done it many times. But it's a good rule. It just you don't end up acquiring too much stuff. Now, yes, lives and houses, you get furniture and all that. That's a different thing. But I'm not talking about like furniture and stuff like that. Well, I never really accumulated furniture either, so which is kind of handy. But still, just in terms of your personal stuff, your clothes, your books, stuff like that, all go in a van. So it's beyond that. I find that you end up there's only so much that you can really use on a regular basis. Yes. So it becomes sort of redundant, that you don't really use it. I guess books would be maybe the exception. That's the only thing that I would now, if I could have my way, I left my library in South Africa. I literally had a library that I'd read already by the time I'd left there. Thousands of books, but uh, they gave me joy because I'd walk through them, and they wouldn't just sit there and accumulate dust. I'd walk past the shelf and I kind of run my finger over the spines, and then I'd say, oh, and I'd remember them, and it would be a great joy. It was like just one shelf would be a whole adventure because you raise up all the memories of all the things you read. So this was quite a profound exercise of joy. So this was something that was, yes, it's a physical thing sitting there not really doing. I'm not going to read them again necessarily, um, but but still it had great value. So there are some exceptions as always, but if I had the books now, they'd certainly be decor, because I just like the looks of books too. So all right, they make me happy. So they serve a purpose, they serve a function, and they wouldn't be sitting in a closet. Yeah, that would then I would not have them if they were sitting in a closet. So I'm just sharing for a little bit of perspective, how things are useful and valuable. So a lot of the stuff that's in there that, let's say it's nostalgic or whatever, yeah, I really don't want. Well, put it up on the wall as decor. Then it serves a purpose. Yes, it doesn't take up space in your closet.
If I clear out, that's where there's a spot down at my dad's house that if I clear out space down there, the books that I have, I could, from up here, I can bring down there. And instead of them being stuck in drawers and closets, they would actually be out and I
As
could see
decor.
them and
There
I
you
can
go.
reach for them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Books
may
as
be
decor.
more inclined to go through them and use them because I can see them.
Exactly. Exactly. And you don't necessarily have to read books. I mean, all the books that I had were all books that I'd read, right? So when you see a book that you've read, it reminds you of that reading, and it refreshes whatever value you got from reading at the time. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, you can do the same thing with a library of movies. I mean, nowadays that doesn't apply anymore. But in the old days with those, VHS movies or CDs or whatever, same thing. You know, when you have them where you can see it and you can connect to it, and you have that refresher. This is powerful, no? So I'm just saying there are different ways to get value out of things. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Bit of creativity. Bit of creativity. There's another profound part of this too. It's old versus new, and this may even apply to the books, Robin. Okay. I'm just pouring my coffee. One second.
Go ahead.
There we go. So there's another aspect to all of this that's really, really, really important to consider. And this is this idea or this concept, this understanding of old and new. Yes. Now, Robin has profoundly changed. The Robin that I now know is a different new Robin to the one that I first got to know. Yes, when I first met you. Yes.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So when we have profound life change, the place where it's most important to make that shift and to demonstrate it and to practice it and to have it be a reboot is in our close circle, close family, close friends, right?
Okay.
Because you might change, but they don't know how much you've changed, and because of habit and familiarity and it's the old ways that you have of being with them get maintained because it's just the way of things. To change those ways of being with people is difficult. Can be done, but it's more difficult. Now, when we undergo profound change, if we also get to physically move to a new place, this is a boon of just unfathomable value. Right? So now when you go down to Florida, you can be new Robin. The people you're going to meet, the neighbors you meet, you can interact with them with an entirely different way of being, a style, a mood, a vibe, an understanding, an awareness, everything, right? That's different to the Robin, the Pennsylvania Robin, right? So you
Mm.
get an opportunity to put way of impeccability, Robin, into practice in all aspects of your life in Florida, right? You get a fresh start, in other words. So when it comes to taking stuff down there, I absolutely recommend taking the minimum, the absolute minimum. I mean, so your criteria is, I'd rather replace it. If I really need it, I'd rather replace it. Why? Because it's new and fresh. Simple as that.
Mm.
Which means you are taking with only that which would be really wasteful to replace. I mean, like even your clothing could fall into this category to a large extent because a new Robin might want to dress differently. New Robin likely is going to dress differently because, well, the weather's very different in Florida. Yes.
Yeah.
But you may want it to also represent your character in a different way, to dress in ways that you may never have thought of dressing before because, well, you weren't comfortable doing that, but you may have wanted to, right? But weren't comfortable. See what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Now, though, you might say, well, I don't have those kind of inhibitions and stuff anymore because, well, I just don't feel like that about stuff anymore. I've got a freedom to me now. I've got space inside me, space for choice. Yes. So you already know the power of new hairstyles, new wardrobes, new looks, new ways of speaking, new ways of interacting, new ways of connecting. These are all profound, profound opportunities. And when you get this chance to also move and get the space to really practice and experiment and be new, this is profound. Now, I would absolutely say it's essential that you mention this to Kevin, to have basically set up kind of a covenant with him to say, look, when we go down to Florida, we're getting an opportunity to start fresh, to have a reboot, in other words. So let's do this, whatever ways we want to change and say, I've sort of got into the habit of, I don't know, let's just say complaining. Well, that's no more. I don't want to ever complain anymore, or just for argument's sake, right? I'm not saying this yourself. Or to say, look, when we go down there, no matter what, we don't argue with each other. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what we have to do to not argue, we don't. We just don't ever cross that line in the new place. We just don't, right? Because, and this I recommend to couples that are happy. Don't ever argue. No matter how much you're tempted to, no matter how much you think you need to, don't. Because once you do, you start a pattern and then you can't go back from there, right? So don't ever cross that line. All right. It's difficult when you do it in a place where you have and it's familiar. And it's very difficult to implement this. But in a new place, this is possible. This is possible. Because, I promise you this, if you have this restriction to never argue, you won't. For instance, I'll tell you how easy it is, right? When people have a workplace, right? Is they will never argue with a boss the way they would argue with their partner.
Yep.
And you say, well, you complain about the boss, but why don't you tell him, like, bitch and moan at your husband or your wife? How come you don't do this with the boss? Oh, no, that wouldn't be possible. That would be inappropriate. Well, why isn't it inappropriate with your partner? It should be equally inappropriate. In other words, you're looking to maintain the relationship with your boss. You don't want to risk that, yes? So you don't argue, you don't bitch, you don't moan, you don't complain, right? Now, okay, maybe you're going to like, kind of take a bit of nonsense sometimes, but so what? You don't love your boss, but you can't do this with your spouse. Hello. See what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's that. I like that.
It's profound. So think of it. That's why I'm not a great fan of the actual literal act of marriage, because it binds things, right? You don't have that freedom. Yes, to just, well, I'm not here because I have to be here. I'm here because I want to be here. That's to me the magic of when you truly have a wonderful relationship, right? You have that. So then you don't go around arguing. Well, because let's say in the early days of a relationship, well, if I start bitching and moaning and arguing and complaining, well, the person might just go and leave me and break up with me, right? It's like same with the boss. There's a bit of, you know, you have to keep things nice because otherwise you're not going to stay in the relationship. Well, that's the problem with marriage. You feel like, well, I can do stuff that I wouldn't otherwise do because it's sort of locked in. But if you in your internally in your mind say, no, I don't want to live like that. I want to start fresh. I want to have it where, arguments are just not on the table. End of story. Why? Because I honor you, respect you, and love you. And not because any other reason. There's no valid reason for an argument. Yes?
Gosh,
There
there's
just
so
isn't.
many
It's just
things.
a bad habit we've learned from society and culture. There's no good reason for it. And here's the thing, too. Everything that you argue about, a week later, what was that argument about again?
Yes.
What was that argument about again? Did it make a difference? Did it really matter? Did you get it resolved? No, it's still there. Well, you living and it's not an issue anymore. So mostly arguments are not actually about resolution, but about venting,
It's so true.
right? Okay. So think of it this way, right? Think of arguments as being the venting of your psychological and emotional bowels. Now, if you come to my house and or just with your, if you vent your bowels in the bedroom, this is not appropriate. Yes, you're going to have a lot of problem with Kevin if you were to do this. Correct?
Correct.
Well, but when you argue, you do this. How is it okay with emotions and psychology, but not physically? Same shit, right? Still crap that's coming out. It's messy. It's unpleasant. It's stinky. It's nasty, right? See my point? When you think of arguments as the venting of, of psychological and emotional and spiritual bowels, it changes the whole dynamic. I think you're going to have a hard time arguing with Kevin after this conversation, yes? Or with anybody.
I
I
have a
mean,
hard
basically,
I have a hard time now, even I'm noticing I have a hard time venting in general.
Oh,
And
good. Oh,
but I
oh,
but
good.
it's
Because you
not
got nothing
coming
to
but
vent
it's not
about.
coming from
Yeah,
an old
yeah,
pattern of or
yeah.
old habit of stuffing it down. It's
No.
actually coming from an awareness
Yes.
of
Yes.
if I say this, that's not
Yeah.
it's very interesting because I had that experience because being with my aunt was very difficult. But every time I wanted to vent, I was just aware of what words I was going to use, and that's not really appropriate. And that's not really what I mean. So why
Consequence.
would I say it? And it
Exactly.
was just very, very interesting because I would
Exactly.
pause a lot
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And that's why I like to say awareness is self-curative. It's a very it's a, one of those complex sayings that you have to kind of think about because it doesn't always apply directly. But you see, in this case, with the venting, like with your aunt, it became self-curative. The awareness, it
Yes.
fixed the problem of its own accord. Awareness itself fixed it. Also, you can't vent if you're paying attention to thinking things through to the end. In other words, you resolve things. So you don't have stuff to vent because you resolve them. You can't stuff it down because, well, if you stuff it down, this is poor use of energy. You deal with it, you face the awful truth, and by facing it, you deal with it, and then it becomes the awesome truth, and well, life is easy. Nothing to vent about. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. It's very powerful. Now let's tie it all together. See, I love it when a circle comes together, right? It all connects back to your cleaning. How does this connect to my cleaning now? Well, in our psychological venting and emotional bowel movements, let's put it that way. That's what the space is for. What is a toilet but a space, a receptacle? Yes, okay, our psychology and our emotions are more complex. And they're not so literal as physical. So that space, that actual physical space, is what you need for this cleaning and clearing of stuff that might accumulate. Yeah. When you
Yes.
always have that space, that's it. The stuff doesn't get bottled up in you because it has a space to release and float away, and you don't ever notice it. It's like, well, we think of bodily excretions. We think of it nasty and unpleasant, but you know what? So is your sweat is a bodily excretion, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, it just goes off and it's unnoticeable. And, I mean, you sweat from your arm, your hand, whatever, you do, we don't notice it. That's my point, right? Because, well, you have space. If you now all tight and bottled up and you're well, then you don't have space to sweat and then it becomes an issue, right? So this is psychologically the same thing. When we have space, psychologically, emotional space and physical space can represent that, right? Now we get that and stuff just it takes care of itself whatever it needs to, the natural process of the body. Yes. So we for centuries we lived with space around us. We spend most of our time outdoors, not indoors. Yes. So space is very, very important from a DNA point of view. Yeah. That's why everybody wants a view. Because when you are running around on the savannah all those thousands of years, I mean, we've only been living in buildings, relatively a fraction of a time. And even go back 100 years, people didn't live in their houses. I mean, literally look at back in the houses. Okay, probably more like 150 years now, 200 years now. But go back to even like the 1800s. Yes. And you go to the typical house. People didn't spend all day in it. They were outside doing stuff, like on a farm. Most
Yeah.
farmers, they spent their time outside. Even the wife, is feeding the chickens, doing whatever. There's 101 things that you're doing, and like when she did laundry, she did it outside, stuff like this. I'm just saying, they spend their time outside because if you actually look at those houses and you go in them, you'll see they're very dark and they didn't have electricity to light it up. And you don't want to be lighting your gas lamps. This is expensive, candles, whatever. It's miserable. So you save that for the night when you absolutely have it. And that's pretty much the only time you're in the house. Yeah? So when you look at those houses, you see they weren't lived in during the day. Definitely not, because they didn't have the light for it and they were dark. It's very interesting. So I'm not trying to say that, when we look at this from that point of view, an evolutionary point of view, us being indoors all the time is fairly new and we're still adapting and acclimatizing to it. And that's why we like a view, it's very important. I'm amazed that people who do cubicles, right? If I were a big, office that had cubicles, I would put in every single cubicle, I'd put some sort of a picture that had a view, right? Picture of the beach, but something that has depth, that you're looking far away, right? They give you a feeling of space. Yeah. It would change the whole vibe of that cubicle in a profound way, psychologically, make a big difference. Very important. Very, very, very important.
It's funny. I'm looking at my dogs and they are very happy that I'm home.
Oh,
Just you could just sense
oh,
the way they're laying
oh,
down. There, it's just
oh, good. Oh, good. Your dogs are a reflection of your psyche,
yes.
right? I've seen this before. When you're agitated and bothered and stressed, so are the dogs.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing
They
them
they
there
have a
just
direct connection to you. Yes.
yes, they
Mm.
do.
Yeah. I mean, also, don't make it exclusive because they can also be bothered by the mailman, right? Or
Oh
mail
yes,
person.
because Macy, I know Kevin doesn't realize it, but I go, sometimes she's the way she is or scratching. I go, she senses your energy. And you
Yeah,
keep blaming her, and I'm going, but it's not her, it's you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It feeds off. It's a feedback loop, right? It's like feeling and
Yes.
believing. That's what we were doing. We were doing feeling and believing. That's right. That's right. That's right. I knew I wanted to get back to something, and I was bothering me. That's right. That's right. So yes. So he's got a feedback loop going on with Macy. Yeah. 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 She responds to him. He responds to her, and it feeds on itself. Very important to be aware of. Yeah. Yeah, very, 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 very important. Very important. Very, very important. Very important. All right. So I'm keen to continue a little bit with feeling and believing. I don't know how much more time you have, but
I
even
have
if we just
until
do a
I
little bit.
have yeah, I have until 9. So even if we
Okay.
get a
So
little bit in, it's good.
okay. 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 Yeah. 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 I mean, just so that we keep the connectivity going because it's so important. And in your clearing of the Philadelphia now, this um, uh, this feeling and believing loop is really going to come into it, right? Because your feelings are tied to the belief of what is in that closet, in those spaces, the stuff, right? Where were we? Do you remember?
This one, I think. Truth fiction.
Okay,
We were working on truth fiction
right,
the other day.
right, right, right. And then we went to the next one, which is fiction causality. That's right.
Yep.
This is where we were, right? We tend to believe we need a reason to feel in a particular way. Uh, when you open that closet again, is there, right?
Yep.
You think you need a reason to feel. Do you need a reason to throw that stuff out?
Now wait a minute, where are we talking? Because I was down in Florida when a lot of this came up, so
Right, right,
I guess
right,
it
right.
doesn't
No, but
really matter because
I'm shifting it to your closet, that bathroom closet now, right? So when you go there, because the issue was you've got to sort the house, and basically the issue is throwing things out. Correct? If I understand this from a
yes,
clarity of intent point of view,
yes,
yes, because
yes,
that's where we are at in way of impeccability. We started again with way of impeccability. So I always keep my center column, right? Clarity of intent. So we were on module one, session one, which is clarity of intent. Right. But now I'm applying this and we went a little bit sideways to do feeling and believing, and we're going to go back there. Right. So now I'm applying this to your closet specifically. Right. So the issue is, yes, you've got to get the house sorted, which really means throwing out stuff. Right. If I understand the sorting of the house,
yes.
that's the bottom line. Okay. So the throwing out stuff was a bit inhibited. Why? Because of beliefs.
Yes.
Essentially, right? So, okay, we tend to believe we need a reason to feel in a particular way. Well, you feel like you want to throw the stuff out and get rid of it and make space, but it's problematic. Why? Why do you need to have a reason to throw out the stuff?
Oh gosh.
Is there any logical thing that says I have to have a reason? No, it's just habit, it's just convention. I can throw it out simply for no reason whatsoever because I choose to. Yeah, we can choose how we feel at any given moment. So when you go to that closet now, say, logic be damned. I am going to feel like throwing this stuff away because I choose to. Whether it makes any sense or not is irrelevant. It might make sense, and well, obviously it makes sense because I don't really need it because I've never done anything with this cupboard for God knows how long. So, well, duh, right? But nonetheless, that's beside the point. I'm not getting into a logical debate here about this. This is an exercise of me practicing mood management, me unhooking from the feeling belief loop to say, I choose. I choose how I feel, and therefore I choose what I believe. I choose what I believe, and therefore I choose what I feel. Yes.
Yes.
So I choose to throw it all out, or I choose to donate it, or whatever, right? So we can choose to feel how we want to feel purely as an act of will, and then make that chosen and desired feeling our habit and default through another, longer, more sustained act of will. That's what you're going to do with the entire house. You're going to start with the closet and say, I'm doing this because I choose to. Not because it's needed, not because it matters, not because it's important. All of those, yes, they are all valid, good reasons. But I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to do it purely because I choose to. And I choose to change my belief on this and my feeling. Why? Because I'm doing it as an act of will. Why am I doing this? Because I'm doing this to practice exercising my act of will so that I can do this as a longer, more sustained uh, um, activity and ability, right? So that I have this throughout my life, that I can apply acts of will as needed. Yes. So the entire house, for the next couple of months, however long it's going to take you to do this, you are going to continuously be practicing the implementation of acts of will so that you can develop this as a longer, more sustained act of will. Yes.
Yes.
The act of will of choice, right? The longest sustained one is not about the specifics. It's about the act of will to say, I choose. That's the sustained act of will, is to maintain this understanding that I have choice and I implement choice and I always choose. And I choose for my reasons, whatever they are. I can choose simply because I want to practice choice. That's it. Whether it's let's assume that you do throw away or donate and throw out some stuff that, well, okay, you say later on, you know what, I could have kept that. It would have come in handy now. So what? You just replace it. It's not the end of the world, right? It's no big deal whatsoever. Yes. So if there is, you find, well, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done it. So what? Is this a mistake you can't recover from? No. Is it going to be is there even a likelihood that you would notice that you made a mistake? Maybe you'd say, well, you know what? We had that in that closet. Now throw it out. You know what? So what? Yeah. The price you pay for having it there is the price of filling up your space again, the price of moving it down there. Yes. That's
Yes.
the other thing too. If you want to, if you now, your accountant side gets in to this to say, how much is this going to actually cost you to move down there? Right. So it's actually costing me money to take it with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that doesn't make much sense what am I keeping this for again? I might need it. Well, it's going to cost me too. Well, that same cost, I could just as well go and buy it, right? Okay. Well, there you go. See, very simple calculation when you really. But again, this is not the point here. We want to get out of the logic here. We want to shift this to a different exercise, to actually doing stuff that doesn't necessarily fall fit into logic. Yes. Um, and to do this as purely as an act of will. How I feel is not necessarily connected to how I think. Yes, we discover this, but we want to have those connected. But sometimes stuff comes from outside of our stuff, right? So then I can say, well, this isn't my feeling. I don't have to identify with it and connect with it. Yes. We're making a bit of a jump here now from the house analogy and all of this stuff to say this is just something to be aware of, that stuff can come from outside, right? Yeah. Name something you need a reason to feel.
It's funny because as I'm quick going through this, I'm having a hard time with that one. But then
Which
when you
one?
go to the next one, can you just feel delighted for no reason? The answer is yes. Can you feel joy for no reason? Yes.
Exactly.
Can you feel angry without any reason? And that again makes me pause. I don't know.
Right. For most people, that's a no. Yes. So
Yeah.
that just goes to show that we have this belief. I mean, the tasks and exercises sometimes, mostly, they don't necessarily recap what we've done. Sometimes they bring something new into it, and this is the purpose for them, right? To extend you so that you go further. Oh, wait a second now. Hang on. Whoa, I gotta really stop here. Why don't I need a reason to feel joy, but I need a reason to feel angry, right?
Yeah.
uh, also, if I have to have a reason for it, am I not now being influenced by external stuff? I don't want to feel angry, reason or not. See? So when I realize that I can feel angry for no reason, right? I mean, if I really wanted to, yeah. I mean, if I were to pay you and say get angry, I think you're going to get angry pretty quickly, right? Or to say, oh, I'll give you $1 million to feel angry, you're going to get angry in a hurry. Right? I mean, like, actors, they can get, I mean, they really feel anger when they get, good actors. They don't pretend to be angry. They actually get angry, right? So when we realize that this is choice, not actually because of the reason, that's why this is such a tricky question, because why does the one apply and not the other, right? Then we realize it's actually with anger, it's just bogus. Yes. It's just an excuse for our venting, which venting is just crappiness. Venting is basically, it's doing your bowels in public, in spaces where it's not appropriate, right? So anger is absolutely inappropriate venting. Yes. It's like in the same way. I mean, it's a crude analogy, but it's unfortunately very powerful and very necessary. And I'm doing it deliberately because it's so ridiculous when we associate. Well, okay, I go to the bathroom to vent my physical bowels, but yet I do my psychological and emotional bowels. I just do this very well anyway. It's like, whoa. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. That's not
Yeah.
cool. That's not cool.
No, then it
What's
makes yes. Oh my gosh, that was an aha moment.
This is huge. This is huge. So again, you know what? I've got the reason to be angry. Well, you know what? I can feel my stomach. I gotta go. Well, let me just do it right here. Ah, come on. Seriously. This is what you get potty training for. But we don't get psychological and emotional potty training. Yes.
Yep.
It's the same bloody thing. Yeah. So this idea that I've got a reason that justifies my anger. No, no. The reason is that, you had to go to the bathroom and you're choosing to do it here. No, go to the bathroom. Right. That's it. And this is why actual physical space in your house is the psychological and emotional bathroom. Very important point. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very, very, very important point, right? So, it's not just having
But
space, but
you know what? That look at how appropriate to be starting in the actual bathroom.
right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Making space in the bathroom. Right. So now you're adding an extra facility in your bathroom. And you've got the basin, you've got the actual toilet, you've got the shower, and you've got the space for your soul, your spirit, your aside. You know what? Sometimes you can take a closet like that and turn it into a meditation closet. I don't know how big this closet is that you can maybe sit down in it, but but let's say for argument's sake, right? It was like it was the space of your shower. Yes. you can turn this into a meditation shrine. Which, what is meditation? But really, that's what meditation is. It's going to the bathroom psychologically, emotionally. And people don't realize this. Yes. So in making space, I would say it's very critical, and especially in Florida, yes, to have that general space of ease, because when you have ease, the things don't get bottled up. They can go where they need to go. But also create private spaces for you and for Kevin. Yes?
Yes.
Private bathrooms, in other words. Yes? I don't know, some people that really have the space and the luxury can do this. They have the master suite, and then you've got the walk-in closet for both parties. Yes, but it's separate. They're not conjoined, right? You've got your closet, I got mine. That's a private space. Yes, and sometimes they even have private bathrooms. I know most women that I know would give anything to be able to have a private bathroom. That theirs and theirs where husband doesn't come in. Yes.
Yeah, we don't have that, but the bathroom down in Florida, oh
Right.
my gosh, the space is
Right.
beautiful. It's
Right.
wonderful.
But what I'm saying is not that you have it, but you would like it, was the yes that I was asking, that you would like to have
Yes.
your own bathroom. Yes.
Yes.
Like I said, almost every woman that I know said, wow, yeah, that would be great. And actually, if you press the men a little bit, they probably, well, yeah, that would be kind of cool. I don't mind too much, but yeah, it would be kind of cool. Right. So, but, but when you mention having their own walk-in closet, the guys tend to be much more open to this idea. Oh, man, this would be great. This would be cool. Yeah. So my point is that marriage, it has this belief to it that you must do everything together and be conjoined and become the other person and all this, when really it kind of goes against who we are. I'm going to share who I am, not become you. It's a different logic. Yes. I'm going
Yes.
to be me. I'm going to share me with you. It's the sharing which is the joy of any kind of association, partnership, friendship, any moreness relationship, no matter how it is in actuality. It's the sharing of your being yourself that is the issue. You being individual. Yes. So this is very powerful. So when you make space for that, where you claim yourself and where you get to refresh yourself, you get to consolidate yourself, you get to expand, you get to experiment, you get to invent and, do your psychological and emotional and spiritual cleansing. This is very, very, very important. See, another reason for that workshop, even if it's a space where Kevin does absolutely nothing, but he can go to, even if he just goes there in his mind alone when he's working, he knows he's got that workshop. It's a space where he can regenerate, refuel, recharge, yes, cleanse, vent. Yeah. So I would say, that workshop of his, if you can make a little space for it. I don't care where or how, just that this is a space but where you can actually physically go. Think of it as a meditation space, not as an actual workspace. And you explain it to him, to say the workshop is not here for you to do projects and whatever. No, it's meditation. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Well, that's it. I mean, of course, there's that possibility you can, but its prime function is to recharge you. Yes, to give you space. Yeah,
Yes.
makes sense.
Oh,
Very powerful.
absolutely.
Right. So the next thing here, can you feel any of these as a matter of choice? If not, why not? If you need reasons to feel any positive or superlative feelings, what's the logic? Conversely, do we absolutely have to feel bad about bad stuff? Oh, that last line, that's huge, no? For both
I
of you.
could answer, but that last line, I could definitely say conversely, do we absolutely have to feel bad about bad stuff? And I know without a doubt, no.
Exactly. Exactly. We don't. We just thought that we should. And man, this should is slavery, just exponentially, slavery expounded, right? Should. It keeps us bound to all sorts of things. Wow. Why should I feel bad about? Well, that means you're not a good person if you don't. Nonsense. Nonsense. I know it's bad. I don't have to feel bad about it. If I did, I would, by that logic, I'd have to feel bad every single minute of the day. And that makes no sense whatsoever, right? There's a lot of sucky stuff in the world. This bad stuff doesn't go away because I'm not aware of it. Yeah. As soon as I become aware, I realize, well, you know what? There's shit going on all over the world. Do I have to feel bad about it? No. Do I know it's bad? And yes, I do. And do I want it to be bad? No. Do I want it to change? Yes. However, that doesn't mean that I can't feel good. I have to feel good because that's a way of mitigating, combating, counteracting the badness, right? So my goodness demands I feel good. Yeah, because otherwise I'm putting out the bad vibes, which is a negative virus, and I'm polluting the world. My positivity, my joy is a positive virus that improves the world. So how do I deal with the bad stuff? Not by feeling bad about it, but by feeling good. I'm not feeling good about the bad stuff. I'm feeling good about the good stuff. And I'm feeling good because just feeling good for no reason. Why? Because it feels good. I don't have to have a reason, right? So a big point in from the nobility perspective, and it's somewhere in one of the programs it comes in, that, well, I think it's in way of impeccability, actually, now that I think of it, is we have, the only responsibility we have is to not be negative. That's it. We do not have a responsibility to be positive. That's a choice. That's a bonus. You don't have to feel good if you don't want to. You don't have to be joyful. You don't have to be happy. But you do have to not be negative. Yes?
I like that.
It's a very profound point.
Because
We
that
tend to
reminds me
feel
of just everything with my aunt.
yeah, yeah. Huge point. It's a huge point. We do not have a responsibility to be positive, to be happy, to be joyful. No. Your positivity is a choice. You can be neutral if you want, but you can't be negative. That is a responsibility. Not if you want to live in society, you want to go low out, but even if you're living out in your own somewhere, you're still putting out negative vibes, right? You're not isolated no matter where you are, right? Always connected. So you do have a responsibility to not be negative. Yeah. It's very important to understand that this is a case of we assume, the opposite, that, well, if I have responsibility to not be negative, that means I have responsibility to be positive. No, no, that's again philosophy of opposite. That's more mentality of opposites, actually, rather than philosophy of opposites. It's mentality of opposites, and it doesn't apply. Right? Your only responsibility is to not be negative, which means that I cannot care with Auntie. All right, Auntie, you want to be full of nonsense? I don't care. I'm neutral. It's not gonna, that's it. Whatever, right? I don't have to like it. I don't have to be positive. I don't have to be cheerful in that. But I'm not going to be negative about it either, right?
Yes.
So,
Boy.
so
And
we
that was
that
practice. Oh my gosh, that was like 5 days of practice in that.
brilliant. So this gets us to our sobriety. Yes, typically sobriety is the mood of that space. I mean, sobriety is inherently positive, but it doesn't feel the usual kinds of positivity, right? So when you're dealing with Auntie in that space of not being negative, you are immersing, or a useful thing I would recommend is to immerse in your sobriety. Yes, just be sober with Auntie. And now it's like, well, whatever, it's like when the dogs are going off. Like, you don't get stressed by it. Kevin does, but you kind of, well, whatever, dogs. It doesn't stress you necessarily. I prefer them not to, but it doesn't stress you, right? Same
Yep.
with Auntie. I prefer if you didn't, but it doesn't stress me, right? Sobriety, right? You understand it's necessary. You get where she's coming from. You realize she's caught up in her habits and her pettinesses and indulgences and whatever, right? And patterns and, feelings and beliefs, the loops that are messing up. You understand it because you understand you can deal with it with sobriety. Yes.
Yep.
How cool is that?
That
How cool is that?
that is very nice.
Exactly. Exactly. Self-determined is our next heading here. Once we realized and are aware of this relationship, the relationship between feeling and believing, between choice, right? This relationship between feeling and believing, the world changes. And we become the ones to change our world. because you're choosing. Think of this when you clear your house. It is a gift, Robin, a gift, a gift, a gift, a gift. You're starting fresh. You get to start anew. You get to dump all the old crap in your life that sit there. I might need it. Oh, well, might is, a meteor might fall on my head too, but I don't walk around with a crash helmet on my head, yes, or whatever, or live underground, right? There are lots of mights, might doesn't mean will. There we go. Right? I can't prepare for every eventuality. I have to trust in my flexibility, my adaptability. Yes, my appropriateness. So I don't need all this stuff. I have myself. I have my wits. I have space. I will do. Yes, in that sense, I will keep my tools because tools are always something you're going to need. Yes, at some point, right? So tools are the exception to this because tools are what allows you to do. But other than tools, right? There's very little that qualifies. Like I said, your books might, but again, when you think of it really through, are they books that that represent new Robin? See? I mean, if they books about, I don't know, I'm just saying for argument's sake now, woman under pressure, woman at stress at work or whatever. I'm just saying for argument's sake, yes? Do I really want to keep these? That doesn't apply to me anymore. Yes, I resonated. I connected with it before when I was stressed at work. I'm no longer stressed at work. I've made peace there. I have good relationships. These don't apply anymore. See what I mean? So check the books to see if they do apply. Yeah. I mean, there may have been books about what you would like to become. And you say, man, well, I am this now. All right, cool. All right. You see what I mean? So.
Well, I've done that. I got rid of a lot of
Oh, good. Oh,
the
good. Oh, good.
spiritual books, and I only have the books that are more related to massage and cranial now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let me just see something. Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. We got a ways to go still. All right. So I want to hurry thing. I
No,
want
I'll
to
be
leave
back.
with
I
this.
won't be back on Monday though. Monday I will be away.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I will be. Yes, we're coming back
Oh
Sunday.
yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So, but I want to leave you with this to contemplate and think about. Right.
Okay.
Share with us how you are in charge of your world. Yeah. Now, share with me while you are taking charge of your world, which is your current world that you're in now, which is the Philadelphia house, right?
Oh,
So,
Pennsylvania house. Yes.
right, right. So your current world is your Pennsylvania house, yes? So
Yes.
that's where you are right now. You're not in Florida anymore. You're in Pennsylvania right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Philadelphia, right? Or wherever, Pennsylvania. So,
Pennsylvania.
yeah, yeah. Well, near
I'm
Philadelphia.
in Easton, so it's a little bit of ways,
Yeah,
but it's
you're in Eastern, right? So Eastern, yeah. So okay, so now share with us how you are in charge of your world. Now do this not in writing, but in your action, in your psychology, in your mood as you go doing this task of cleaning and arranging and getting the house in order, right? Share with me continually as you do that, like psychologically, how you in charge of your world. Yes, you're in
okay.
charge of that house, not the house of you.
Oh, yes.
Am I right there?
Oh
Or maybe
yeah.
maybe I'm
Oh
assuming.
yeah.
No,
That
let me
was
just back up. I should assume and let me ask: who is in charge? Are you in charge of the house, or is the house in charge of you?
oh, Sil, stop right there.
And there it is. And there it is. We can
Yes.
drop the mic and we can leave on that note, right?
Oh my gosh.
How has your world changed? How is it changing as a result of this awareness of the connection between feeling and believing, and how it is just a default habit, no more, a necessary actuality? And on that note, I will say, see you on Monday.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
How
That
many?
I am in charge of my house. My house is not in charge of me. Oh my gosh.
Exactamo. And now you're going to go and kick the house's butt. All right. I'm sorry. That's a terrible American habit and expression, but that's, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Do
All
wonderful.
right.
You're in
So on
charge. You're in
Monday, we
charge.
will, I
Yes.
will share with you.
And Robin,
Yes.
likewise, you're in charge of your internal house.
Mm,
Mm.
See, you had to add that one extra. Oh gosh.
Yes, yes, we have a major, profound awareness, but there's, something more that needs doing. Yes, connected, associated. In taking charge of your external house, you're taking charge of your internal house. Yes, this is
Well,
the
yeah.
task. This is the task. This is the magic, the gift. It's a gift. It's not the onus. It's not the work. It's not the job. It's a gift. It's a gift that you're going to now open and enjoy. Yes, and demonstrate. Yeah, and use and apply. Yeah,
Application today. Yes.
application is owning your house.
All right. You
That's
have
it.
a magical weekend,
You too.
and I
You
will see
too.
you
I
on
will.
Monday.
I will. I will. You've given me so much to think about. So much to think about.
Oh, yeah. Thank
Magical.
you.
Magical. Oh,
Magic.
what a pleasure.
Yes.
What a
All right.
joy. What a joy. Bye bye,
Enjoy.
Robin. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.